Okay, hello everybody, it is Superstupidy, and I am here with my review of Metroid Prime Federation Force. The cringe. Alright, this is something I don't usually do on this channel here, but I figured I'd give it a shot, seeing as Metroid Prime and Metroid in general is such a close subject to me, and this game has definitely been a little bit of a touchy subject on the internet, so I figured I'd go ahead and put my thoughts down. Now I know I'm pretty late to this because the game's been out for a couple weeks or so, but I figured I'd go ahead and do it anyway, and because I haven't got a chance to sit down and record this yet, and this is my first chance to do it, so yeah, I'm gonna start by talking about the reception of this game. As you probably know, it wasn't great, was it? Personally, for me, when I saw it announced, I was disappointed, but not like insanely disappointed like some of the geniuses that decided that it'd be a good idea to start a petition to cancel the game. Yeah, just start a petition, cancel the only Metroid game coming out since 2007. See what I did there? I still don't understand what that was meant to solve. There's literally no way that could end well. I can totally see a situation where Nintendo's just like, oh crap, people didn't like the game we made. Guess we're making a new one. But I digress. To show my support for the Metroid series, and because I was genuinely interested to try this game, I bought a 2DS specifically to play this game, and I pre-ordered it a month in advance. So, but I mean, it didn't come till like a few days after it came out anyway, so seeing as I wasn't super excited to play this game, but I wasn't that disappointed either, I had a pretty open mind going into this game, and well, what did I find? Well, before I tell you, I should probably tell you that I decided it'd be a good idea to get the things that I really don't like out of the way first, and then get into the things that I really did like. That way, we end off on a good note instead of a bad note, and everybody's happy. So don't think that just because I start ripping into this game straight away means that there's nothing good in it, okay? Wait till the end, you lazy slob. First off, this is only a personal preference really, but I was very disappointed that the game was going to be a 3DS game. I am not a fan of handheld gaming systems because they're just cramped, have tiny screens, and I really don't have no reason to go anywhere with it. The other thing that stuck out to me when the game was first released was, of course, the art style. I was pretty surprised to have Metroid and bobbleheads smashed together. That was not what I was expecting from a franchise that up till now has had only realistic depictions of everything, and I'm still really not a fan of the choice. If this game had been a high quality Wii U game with a Metroid Prime-esque art style, I'm sure I would have enjoyed this game twice as much. That said, let's get more technical here. I really had next to no idea what I was getting into when I started up this game, and so naturally, I was very surprised that this game isn't a Metroidvania game at all. It has a mission system. Now, this is one of the most disappointing things about this game for me. I completely understand why they did it and how much easier it is to coordinate multiplayer missions this way, but at the same time, it just feels wrong. Now, real quick, I should probably mention Blast Ball. I hate it. It's so unsatisfying. I hate that when you're placing fully charged shots on the ball, and it's just not going anywhere. Either your team just isn't shooting it, or your other team is shooting it back faster than you yourself can do it, and it's not great. The whole minigame just feels like a constant uphill battle, and it's no fun. Maybe some of it is my lack of patience when it comes to team games with people who don't know what they're doing, but this one just felt particularly frustrating. If you're looking for a unique soccer game, I just ignore this one and go by Rocket League, because that one's much easier to control. Now, it should probably also be said that I'm only focusing on things that stuck out as being really good to me, or really bad to me. Yeah, things that really caught my eye. Because, to be honest, I don't want to spoil the whole game. Although... Now, as you may know, this game was developed by Next Level Games.
Next Level Games.
And strangely enough, a lot of the things I didn't like about Luigi's Mansion 2, also developed by Next Level Games, is in this game too. For instance, way too much reading. There's just far too much telling and not enough showing. I mean, you know, don't add that bit. Before and after every mission, you have to read briefings and debriefings from good old Miles here. Technically you don't have to, but basically all the story is told through the briefings. And the other thing, probably the thing I dislike about this game the most, is the ranking system. I'm not a huge fan of hiding things behind ranking systems in general, but in this game, it's extremely frustrating. Why is it frustrating? Well, there are many reasons I hate this system. Let's list some of them. Number 1, you're timed. I'm all for timed runs, but in Metroid, it just isn't right unless you're going through some crazy escape sequence. None of the levels seem to be designed for speedrunning. And to me, there are few things more frustrating than having to speedrun a game that doesn't have a perfectly designed flow. Number 2. Now that wouldn't be too bad in the grand scheme of things, except you're also ranked on points and bonus objectives. Neither of which do I mind, but when you have to juggle getting through the level quickly and taking the time to collect as many points as you can and completing the sometimes time-consuming bonus objectives, it just gets annoying when you have a near-perfect run, only to have your run spoiled because you took 20 seconds too long getting some extra points. I really hate the system of having to complete multiple things in one run. It really adds so much unnecessary stress having to focus on more than one thing per run. If you had separate ranks for time, bonus objectives, and points, I'd be all for it. That way, I could check one off the list and then not have to worry about it anymore. But instead, you make that one mistake and fail the bonus objective. Sorry, you've gotta start over again, no matter how well you were saving time up to this point. 3. Now this may seem like a minor point, but I really don't get this. When you charge up a beam, you walk slower. Why? They didn't make you walk slower in any of the other Metroid games. And now, the one time they do, it's a game where you're also timed. This is a seriously stupid design because in some missions, it's basically impossible to get the points you need for a good rank without killing enemies with charge shots, which it gives you extra points for, which makes this difficult since you have to finish the level in a timely manner. Why? I don't get it. Basically, ranking system sucks and I hate it in almost every way imaginable. Now, seeing as I was just talking about movement speed, the player moves excruciatingly slow for a game that times you, to the point where to get a good rank you have to side dodge everywhere. Honestly, if they'd implemented some kind of alt form into this game, it would have been much more fun to speedrun the levels. But instead, you're limited to side dodging around everywhere, when you should just be boost balling. Now, as a replacement for the scan visor, there are little terminals everywhere that give you information. I really actually like this, except for the fact that reading them takes time out of your run, and they're not recorded into any logbook. So if you want to read a specific log, you have to start a level and track down the terminal with the log you want to read. It was so close to being good, but I just ended up skipping all of the logs I came across because I couldn't be bothered to read them at the time. Now, let's talk about the collectibles in this game. This is a Metroid game after all, so there are bound to be some great collectibles, right? Well, the only thing to collect in this game are these, called mods, which are very interesting, but extremely disappointing. You can only have up to 3 mods installed at one time, and that's only if you get decent ranks on a couple of missions. Mods are just sitting around behind walls that you only have to shoot with a special weapon that you're given at the start of the game. Most of the mods are in generally interesting and or hard to reach spots, but the problem with that is that as far as I can tell, they're all randomized. So there's no point really bothering with the harder to get mods when you have the same mod potentially sitting behind this easy to open wall. This was probably the second most disappointing thing in the whole game for me. Collecting these mods was never exciting, because most of the time I just started accumulating mods I already had or really didn't want. Now, something I didn't understand at all is that when you die, your mods can actually be destroyed. I really hate this system because there's really no point. What's that? After playing through the entire game, you finally found a mod you like? Oops! You accidentally died to this thing and haven't fought before. Well now, let's make it harder on you by taking away that one mod you spent all that time trying to find. So, you can either spend 5 hours trying to find another one, or you can go in naked. Sound fun? No! Especially considering you can lose mods by leaving a mission before it's over, which is extremely frustrating because either you've messed up your time or a bonus objective on a mission that you're trying to get a good rank on, and you can't restart it because you lose the mod otherwise. Or, when your options are, leave the match and potentially lose a mod, or sit in this match, wait to die and potentially lose a mod, because you can't win the mission unless this guy does what he's supposed to, and he's not. Really sad to see in a spin-off of a game originally designed around exploring and item collecting. Now, one thing that I want to mention is that in most of these levels, the balance between single player and multiplayer is really bad. Some of the levels are really easy in single player because you only have to worry about yourself and can do more damage, but some missions in single player are nearly impossible because you lack the firepower and the speed to protect some of the objects you're meant to protect. You do get these little drones to balance things better, so it's not that bad, but it definitely is unbalanced. The last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of cons is that I hate the ball system. This little mechanic fortunately isn't used very often, but when it is, it really wrecks the flow and is just frustrating in general. I really don't like it, but that's a relatively small nitpick because it's not used very often. Now, on to the pros. I really did enjoy this game overall. The story isn't very good and it's hard to get invested in, but it had some cool moments. I do wish it took itself a little more seriously, but I didn't hate it. One of the things that I was really happy to see return from Metroid Prime Hunters were headshots. Having to headshot the space pirates for extra damage made the combat a lot more engaging, especially when they start bringing out some of the heavy pirates and you have to take out their weak points. They're really tough and hard to kill, but once you start getting it down, there's nothing more satisfying than sending a fully charged shot right into their chest and causing a chain reaction. Even though I was complaining about the art style before, the environments do look very nice most of the time. This is just one of the things that really makes me wish I were playing on a Wii U for high resolution textures, because I really like some of it. Also, Bayan is an amazing name. The puzzles in this game, though I wish there were more, can get pretty good. Some of the things you're set to do are really interesting and take some real strategy. This game has a lot of variety. And some things like this stealth segment and this rail shooter bit were really cool and I wish there was more. The animation in this game is really nice and the cutscenes are very Metroid Prime, just with awkward bobbleheads stuck in the middle. One of the little touches I really liked about this game were how when you first started the game, the player controlling their mech appeared relatively new and clunky, but later into the game it's clear just how second nature the mech has become to the driver. As for the controls, they are exactly what I'd originally wanted from Metroid Prime Hunters. The game controls exactly like Metroid Prime, except now, you can use the 2DS's or 3DS's in somebody else's case, gyroscope for specific aiming. Though I did find my arms getting tangled up and pretzeled way too many times because of this. The overall atmosphere definitely felt Metroid-y. I've seen a lot of people complain that this is just some random shooter with the Metroid title slapped on, but it used a lot of Metroid ideas, and I personally have always wanted a game where I get to play as the Galactic Federation Marine, though maybe a little less linear would have been better. But the thing that really got me with this game was the multiplayer itself. Being able to play a Metroid Prime game alongside other players is such a great experience. If you can find someone who isn't completely terrible and knows what they're doing, it's seriously fun. I've had more fun with the multiplayer in this game than I think I've ever had using multiplayer outside of local play. Definitely recommend the experience to anyone who's a Metroid Prime fan, just for this alone. Plus, you could choose Super Anime Voice in the customization menu, which is hilarious. That's about all I can think to cover, And I know it sounds like there's a lot more bad than there is good, but that's just because I went into a lot of detail laying out the stuff that I didn't like, and most of the stuff that this game really does right, it just basically took right out of Metroid Prime. So overall, I am completely satisfied with my purchase, and I am happy to add this game to my Metroid collection. And I hope that you decide to buy this game, because there's a lot of really great stuff in here, a lot of really great fun to be had, and I need somebody to play with, too. Also that. Anyways, that's about it, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then go ahead and do the usual support stuff for me, and I'll see you guys for the next video. That is probably going to be a Let's Play and not another crummy review, so yeah, that would be probably better, okay? So anyways, from Superstupidy, it is goodbye for now. Goodbye.